Today is an important day for us here at Reception House because it's World Refugee Day. World Refugee Day, observed annually on June 20th, is an international day designated by the United Nations to honor refugees worldwide. It celebrates the resilience and bravery of individuals forced to flee their home countries due to conflict or persecution. This year, World Refugee Day emphasizes solidarity with refugees, advocating for a world that welcomes them. Solidarity involves keeping doors open, celebrating refugees' strengths and achievements, and acknowledging their challenges. It also means finding solutions to their plight, such as ending conflicts for safe returns, ensuring thriving opportunities in welcoming communities, and providing necessary resources to countries supporting refugees. As of June 2023, there are approximately 117 million forcibly displaced people worldwide, owing to persecution, conflict, violence, human rights violations, natural disasters, and climate change. During the year, the global refugee population increased by 7% to reach 43.4 million, which is more than triple the number from a decade ago. Afghanistan and Syria had the largest refugee populations, accounting for 1/3 of all UNHCR mandate refugees. They were followed by Venezuela with 6.1 million and Ukraine with 6 million refugees. Most refugees stay near their home countries, with 69% in neighboring countries. Additionally, 75% of the world's refugees are hosted in low and middle income countries. In 2023, new and ongoing conflicts caused significant forced displacements globally. The conflict in Sudan, starting in April 2023, resulted in one of the largest humanitarian crises, displacing over 6 million people within the country and another 1.2 million to neighboring countries. In Myanmar, violence following the February 2021 military takeover displaced over 1.3 million people within the country. In the state of Palestine, UNRWA estimates that from October to December 2023, up to 1.7 million people, which is over 75% of the population, were displaced by the conflict, with some experiencing multiple displacements. These displacements highlight the consequences of failing to maintain peace and security. As conflicts have become more frequent, prolonged, and intense, the number of displaced people has increased accordingly. On this World Refugee Day, the imperative to support refugees resonates more urgently than ever. In a world grappling with divisions and uncertainties, standing in solidarity with refugees sends a powerful message of hope and unity. It reaffirms our shared responsibility to protect the most vulnerable among us and to build a future where everyone can live in peace and prosperity. Let this World Refugee Day serve as both a moment of reflection and a call to action. Let us amplify the voices of refugees, honor their resilience, and pledge our unwavering support. Together, we can create a world where compassion triumphs over adversity and where every person, regardless of their background, can find safety and solace. I will now introduce you to Bobber Moladen, who is our CEO and has been with Reception House since 2022, leading 58 diverse and dedicated staff. His own story of displacement strengthens his commitment to the first goal of our strategic plan, which is to be client-focused in all we do at Reception House.
Thank you. Thank you, Haley. Thank you, everyone, for joining Reception House webinar, Changing Narratives, Welcoming Refugees in Our Community. Reception House, 39 years ago, KW House Church in Kitchener started providing housing support for refugees. And then 2 years later, Reception House formally established and incorporated and provided supports as a temporary accommodation for refugees, mostly for government-assisted refugees. 1989, thanks to IRCC, we received funding from federal government, from Ministry of Immigration and Citizenship Canada. This was the first time we received funding from the government to provide supports for government-assisted refugees. In 1990s, with the influx of refugees, we received additional funding from IRCC, but also from the community donations and supports during this time. In 2007, we received additional funding under client support services. This was new and introduced in 2007. 2021, Reception House moved to a new location at 56 Regina Street. And since then, we provided and welcome and supported over 11,000 refugees. And we will continue to be the first point of service for government-assisted refugees. And our journey will continue. Reception House will remain a house of hope and continue to empower refugees. Our vision for tomorrow is our mission today. We have a clear and simple mission and mandate. As a client-centered organization, we believe in working with refugees for refugees. Our team works closely with refugees to identify the unique challenges and needs they have upon their arrival in Canada. Our management and leadership team work in collaboration and partnership with IRCC, government agencies, and community partners in Waterloo Region to facilitate the integration and settlement process for newcomers. We believe that when refugees are successfully settled and integrated, the whole community will benefit. Therefore, we value and respect the dignity and agency of those we serve and collaborate with. To become a sustainable organization that provides quality-based services to our clients, Reception House Board of Directors and leadership have adopted a new 5-year strategic plan with 4 priorities. Quality assurance of core services, focusing on investing in facilities and enhancing service delivery. Financial sustainability and flexibility, focusing on diversifying funding sources and practicing financial stewardship. Organization culture, capacity, and well-being, focusing on fostering an inclusive and supportive culture. Leadership, collaborative leadership, focusing on building partnership and collaboration. In the 2022-2023 fiscal year, we welcomed and supported 696 newcomers from 13 countries in our community. 88% of these newcomers came from conflict zones in Middle East, including Afghanistan and Syria. More than 1,300 refugees, including secondary migrants, received services from Reception House during this year. Our success stories inspire us to work harder when we hear that refugees who came and settled through Reception House are now volunteering and donating their valuable time, or when opening their own businesses and hiring newcomers, or working in our healthcare system to provide services to vulnerable citizens, or leading construction projects to build our community and our economy. It motivates us even more. We can do more and better. And here, I would like to encourage you to watch Rahima's inspiring story posted on our social media. And we have a quote from Rahima on our screen here. Reception House provided us with temporary accommodation and helped us with different training and life skill activities for myself and my family. We felt independent with their support and we learned so many new things. Made us feel good during that hard time. Let's work together to build a more welcoming community and support refugees during their journey. Once they're successfully settled, we will all benefit. Thank you. Back to you, Hallie.
Thank you so much, Bobber. Next, I would like to introduce you to Emma Jennings, who is the Senior Manager of Resettlement and Integration at Reception House Waterloo Region. Her role encompasses management of the temporary accommodation and initial services clients access after arriving. Emma has been with Reception House since 2018.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us here on World Refugee Day. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about the program that I manage, and that's the Resettlement Assistance Program. So what is that, and what does it do? What do we do? So the Resettlement Assistance Program is really the first point of connection for newcomer refugees after they arrive in Canada. There's a lot of work that happens overseas to vet people, process people, have them go through medical screening before coming to Canada. But once they're in Canada, the Resettlement Assistance Program is the first point of contact for newcomer refugees that are coming into our community. And so what we do encompasses providing temporary accommodation for people right after they get off that plane. They come to us, they come to our temporary accommodation, and they are there as we are looking for their first home in the community. And while they're there, they're receiving intensive supports to meet their immediate resettlement needs. And so that looks like resettlement supports, which are referrals and connections to immediate services, all the things that you would need to establish yourself in Ontario, in Canada, in the community. So that's help getting an OHIP card, help getting a bank account, getting a social insurance number. We guide people through all of those processes that they need to have in order to begin to establish themselves here. We also provide life skills supports, and that builds on the skill sets that refugees are coming with, and equipping them, helping to build and equip them with the skills that they need to live independently in the Canadian context. So what does that look like? That can look like digital literacy supports, learning how to use email, how to use a computer, connecting with virtual services in the community. It can look like learning how to use some of the appliances that you commonly see here. Dishwashers is a big one that sometimes serves people and aren't seen elsewhere in the world. Recycling and composting, what's the difference between those, what goes in what bin, that kind of encompasses the life skills supports that we provide. And then lastly, as I mentioned, housing support to find that permanent accommodation, getting information orientation on renting in Ontario, what people's rights and responsibilities are as tenants, and then moving people, successfully moving people into their first home in the community, helping them to sign their lease agreement, get furniture, get utilities set up, understand how to pay rent. And on that note, I will just plug that if you do have a place to rent and are interested in renting to a newcomer refugee, we do have a form on our website, receptionhouse.ca, where you can submit any available housing that you or friends or family might have. So a little bit of data information about the resettlement assistance program. So in the last year, 2023, we received 682 people through our doors, through our temporary accommodation. And we were luckily, gladly, one of the largest receiving centers for Afghans in Ontario. Many of you, I'm sure, saw what was happening with the situation in Afghanistan. And so we were very proud to be part of that Afghan initiative, resettling quite a few Afghans to our community, while still, of course, accepting and receiving people from all over the world, from conflict zones all over the world. All of the families that we receive do receive one-on-one orientation supports to meet their unique needs, referrals that meet their unique needs, and support them to with the goal of resettling them in the community. And we house everyone that comes through our doors in an average of roughly 1 month. So the resettlement assistance program is short in terms of its time frame. But it's quite big in terms of its impact. Usually in the first few weeks after people arrive, there's a lot to do. There's a lot of different appointments. There's a lot of information being thrown at people about our different systems and how to navigate them. So I like to say it's a fast sprint. It's not a marathon. Resettlement assistance is kind of the fast sprint of resettlement as we're kind of driving towards longer term settlement and integration. So what are some of the common challenges that we see among the clients that we serve? The most common challenges are really the same as all Canadians are currently facing. We just see them a bit more magnified because of the vulnerable population that we support. And we at Reception House work with others in the community to improve access to housing, healthcare, community supports for all, in addition to, having the newcomers that we support kind of top of mind. So key challenges are definitely securing housing for families. That's probably not a surprise to hear. Newcomers are coming without any Canadian landlord references. They don't have Canadian credit history. And, there's definitely a lack of affordable housing and a lack of accessible housing as well. Quite a few of the clients that we see have accessibility needs, and there really is a lack of accessible housing in the rental market. On that note, supporting people with high medical and mental health needs in a timely manner is another challenge that we face. I think, again, no surprise to anybody, getting referrals to specialists in a timely manner is a challenge. There's, people often come up against long wait lists. Finding a primary care physician is also a challenge, as well as covering some of the costs that aren't covered by OHIP. So costs of dental care, certain medications, medical equipment that people need. Those are major challenges that we face. And then lastly, supporting people to have a dignified and suitable first home in Canada. Rent is very expensive. Groceries right now are incredibly expensive, and these costs do eat into people's budgets. People have to make sacrifices for things like furniture, household items, school supplies for children. And I just want to stress that really this is where donors make a huge impact in the work that we do. Some of the successes, the work that we do is facilitated by donors, volunteers, and the resilience of the clients themselves. We have donors who provide hygiene and welcome supplies, backpacks, home kits, so that people's money stretches further, and when they do find their first home in the community, they can, truly make it a home. Volunteers also support a lot of our programming, like our children's activities programming. The picture that you see here is actually from a March break trip that some of the youth did to Chicopee. We took the youth to Chicopee and we took the littler ones to the Cambridge Butterfly Conservatory. There are a lot of very cute pictures that we have from those trips. So I will just shamelessly plug right here to follow our social media if you want to check those out. So lastly, client leadership and resilience is part of what drives our success and our impact. We only have limited staff, limited time to support people. And so, we do things like transportation navigation on the bus. And, we only have time as staff to maybe take people once or twice, but it can take a lot more for people to feel comfortable and confident in that. And so this is where we see client leadership, client resilience supporting what we do. We have client volunteer programs like bus buddies and English conversation circle leaders. And these bus buddies, for example, clients who feel more confident in using the bus system, take other clients with them, support in their learning on the weekends. And it's a chance to not only learn how to use the bus, but to go somewhere in our region and start to build that sense of belonging. So one recent example, a little while ago, one of the client volunteers took people out to St. Jacob's Farmers Market on the weekend. So, they're starting to feel a sense of community, understanding, seeing the sights and all of the things that we know make the region what it is, make the region amazing. And so we really do rely on the client volunteers, client resilience to support the work that we do. I was thinking how best to kind of communicate the impact that refugees have on our community. The resettlement program is the first step in a journey that hopefully results in people's integration in the new community and eventually Canadian citizenship. These people are your new neighbors, your new coworkers, your new children's schoolmates, and their success is really the community's success. So I was reflecting on how best to communicate this in a way that fits the theme, changing the narrative. And I didn't want to just rehash a policy paper on the economic benefits of being a refugee welcoming community. So yesterday, as I was looking at some of the statistics, I was curious about which of the many languages spoken by the clients that we received was kind of the rarest, which one had the fewest speakers. And I think I found it. I think in 2023, the rarest language was Kinyamulenge. And I apologize if I butchered that. And I think that the Kinyamulenge language is a good illustration of the value that refugees bring to our community. It's spoken by the Banyamulenge, of which there are only 50 to 70,000 people who are Banyamulenge and who speak that language. They're an ethnic minority in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and they are victims of forced migration, marginalization, and violence by the ethnic majority. Again, there are only 50 to 70,000 people who speak Kinyamulenge in the world, and now we have some right here in our region. And I think that is pretty cool to think about. Language is so much more than just words. I think of the Braiding Sweetgrass author, Robin Kimmer. She said, language is the dwelling place of ideas that do not exist anywhere else. And so what knowledge, what cultural practices, what ways of seeing, what ways of being are unique to Kinyamulenge? What impacts could that have if that was shared with our community? Refugees are so much more than just their economic potential. They're more than just the language. They're more than just their economic potential. They bring unique experiences, they bring resilience, and that diversity makes our social infrastructure so much stronger. Could the unique talents and perspectives of refugees help to solve some of our biggest challenges, those challenges that I was just talking about earlier, housing, healthcare, and what impact could that have in fueling the innovative culture that our region prides itself in? There's so much potential impact to our community that refugees bring. and that they could share with us, provided that they feel welcomed, valued, and a sense of belonging. And so this is something that we at Reception House try to incorporate in everything that we do. Being that first point of contact, being that first point in their resettlement, settlement, integration, belonging journey. But we're not the only contributor to that, and we don't do it alone. And so I will pass it back to Haley to continue our conversation today.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Emma. Next, I would like to introduce everyone to Bashir Shabazz, who is the Senior Manager of Settlement and Integration Programs at Reception House Waterloo Region. His role involves managing the delivery of case management settlement supports to government-assisted refugees. Bashir has been working with Reception House for 17 years.
Hi, everyone. I want to thank you all for joining us in our webinar that has been organized on the occasion of the World Refugee Day. My name is Bashir Shabazz. I'm managing the settlement integration programs and the program called CSS Client Support Services. I want to briefly introduce the program. The Client Support Services is a nationally standardized settlement program through which settlement services are being delivered to clients with high and complex needs. Client Support Services has been a cornerstone of settlement support to government refugees in our region since 2007. And our activities in program has been funded and supported financially by the Immigration, Citizenship, and Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, IRCC. As Emma and Barbara mentioned, we support here government refugees, the majority of whom are coming to our region with very high and complex needs. To support them with their needs, we use case management style settlement support, which is a client-centered and comprehensive approach to the settlement program service delivery model that implies the organization and coordination of a network of support to refugees to address their needs, and at the same time empower them, build their capacity to eventually stand on their own feet and manage their needs independently. Briefly about the technical parts, how the case management support is provided here with the client support services. There are a few components that includes the needs and asset assessments, then the development of a settlement plan, referral follow-up, regular assessment, and eventually an exit interview. I would kind of focus briefly on the details. When we receive a refugee client, we normally assign a case manager. The case manager does needs and asset assessments, focusing mostly on identifying the needs and also the qualities and positive aspects that refugees come with. Based on those needs, they prioritize that together and develop a settlement plan in participation with the clients, because any decision that impacts the life of refugees, they need to be part of that. After developing the settlement plan, case managers start taking steps to meet the client's needs. Those steps can be direct surveys, provision of information or orientations, and also mostly referral of clients to other services in the community. Following the referrals, the clients are also being supported to make sure they have access to the services and they receive those services. Case managers do the follow-up both with service providers and with the refugees to make sure they are receiving the services. Also, regularly normal quarterly assessments are being conducted to evaluate the progress of the clients towards their settlement goals. And normally within the client support services, we serve clients for a period of 1 year. If there is any outstanding needs, that needs can be extended to a year and a half in exceptional situations to a 2 year. But at the end of that, we normally conduct an exit interview with refugees to evaluate and assess their progress, and we connect them to other mainstream settlement services in the community to receive help for their any outstanding settlement support that in the future they may have. To provide you some data, for an example, for the period of January to April this year, we have had 954 active clients. It means those are the refugees who are in our system and actively receiving support from us. The total number of referrals for these clients within that period was 2,121 referrals. The total of number of case management activities, the number of total support that refugees received was 3,328. Clients are with high and complex needs. The case management support currently is being provided to refugee clients by a team of 9 professionally trained and multilingual case managers. With an annual client target of 660 individuals, coupled with the secondary migrants and carryovers, our active caseload often exceeds 1,000 clients per year. With fluency in more than 16 languages, our team of case managers provide valuable assistance, including personalized guidance, gender-responsive, language-specific, and culturally sensitive support to guards. I should mention that the multilingual approach also enhances accessibility and inclusivity, empowering our refugees to overcome linguistic and cultural barriers as they integrate into the Canadian society. It should be also mentioned that we are not in this journey, our process of supporting our refugees in our region. We are not working in silo. We actively collaborate with our partners in the settlement sector, health, housing, employment, and other fields to support the clients. And together with our partners, we also advocate for more inclusive and supportive services to refugees and newcomers. Our joint efforts and advocacy have led to tangible improvements in capacity building and inclusivity within the community. By engaging with the local immigration partnership, local governments, policymakers, and also fit in community-based organizations, we have been able to raise awareness, foster development of inclusive policies, and advocate for increased funding allocation. And through strategic partnership and collaboration with our partners, we are actively working to transform settlement into a shared community responsibility. The impacts of the program on the lives of refugees obviously has been great. That the service that receive from our program empower those refugees to access vital resources in the community, make informed decision about their life in Canada, and forge meaningful connection within their communities. Within the process of providing services to the clients, case managers normally accompany clients, support them with the navigation, and also one of the tools that they use is home visit as a case management tool and also an outreach tool. Case managers normally visit refugees in the places that they left, and the goal is just to increase the accessibility to our services and also support, if it is a family, the entire family members to take part in the discussion around their settlement journey. Thank you again, and if you have any other questions about the details, we are here with our colleagues to respond to your question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bashir. Yes, just a reminder about the Q&A. If you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A section of the Zoom call. Next, I would like to introduce everyone to Lynn Griffiths-Fulton, who is the Program Director at Reception House Waterloo Region, providing oversight of our core programs and supporting the development of partnerships and new opportunities for enhancing our services. Lynn has held various positions at Reception House over the past 17 years and is passionate about social justice and building a more welcoming and inclusive Waterloo region.
Thanks, Haley. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's wonderful to have you here, and we are excited that you are interested in the work that we do, because this is the part where you come in. We at Reception House, we can't do it all, and settlement is definitely a community effort. Waterloo is a wonderful region that has supported refugees for decades and continues to do so. And that is through agencies like ourselves, but also through individuals who make this community more welcoming to newcomers who arrive here. So we need your help. And so this is where I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of the ways that you might want to get involved and encourage your friends, your family, your neighbors to also help us in this effort. So we have a variety of volunteer programs. Emma touched on a few, but I'll just give you a little bit more detail around some of them. We're currently running a family partnership program that connects local families with newcomer families. Volunteers can assist in practicing English, helping newcomer families discover their new community. Emma mentioned that there was a trip to St. Jacob's Market recently, and that's happened over the years. This is a way really to build friendships, for people to meet one another, to share. It could be a meal together. This is really driven by the volunteers and the families or the individuals themselves. We see this as just a way of being able to foster better multiculturalism, understanding of each other's culture, understanding, and hopefully being able to sample each other's food. I know that is something that a lot of people who are involved in the family partnership program really enjoy doing together. So if you're passionate about cultivating meaningful relationships with newcomer families, this program is for you. We also run an English outreach program. This is a weekly commitment aimed at providing English tutoring for individuals or in a family setting as well. This just essentially helps not only people learn English, but also, again, it's just a way to build greater understanding, connections with one another. It is a huge challenge for people who arrive without being able to speak English and understand fully what is going on around them, being able to access services and supports. As Bashir mentioned, one of the key program elements that we have in place are people who speak a multitude of languages, but we want people to be able to communicate, to have a voice for themselves, and that's another way that we want to help empower people to really become self-sufficient and independent and being able to integrate into this community. Language is such an important piece of that journey. So if you're interested in helping others to have a voice for themselves, this could be the program for you. We have children's programs that are currently going on in our temporary accommodation location, and that would be supporting with staff who are providing some activities for the children. It's a pretty isolating place to be when you first arrive and you're in a strange place and you're living in temporary accommodation, waiting to move into your new home. And parents are involved in all of the things that Emma described around getting their documents together, doing orientation, looking for housing. So children and youth are not as well catered for because they're not able to go to school while they're in temporary accommodation. So we are constantly looking for support for our activities that help kids just basically have fun and get to know this community by going out on field trips. We have a partnership with the library that's going on right now, Kitchener Public Library. So there are outings to the library and to other services that kids could, the museum, for instance, where kids could just go and burn off some energy because, again, the hotel does not have a lot of space for kids to run around. And so we want to be able to provide children and youth with ways that they can just enjoy themselves and, like I say, burn off some of that energy. We also do provide some arts and crafts through, you'll see in the picture there, a local artist, Pamela Rojas, who comes in and supports not only just through some different art media, but this is a way that we can also help people to share their stories and to learn a new craft, but just to also be able to talk about their journey here and what their hopes are for the future. I think this is a really important piece of what we're trying to do through the Children and Youth program, is to give kids hope that they will have a brighter future here in Canada. The youth program is also one that runs not just in temporary accommodation, but also when youth have moved into their own homes. And so this is a way that we can bring volunteers together with newcomer youth and just help forge new friendships and develop a strong sense of belonging to their new community. So if you like working with children and youth, those are some of the ways that you might be able to support us and to get to know new families in the region. If you visit our website, we do have an application, so you can apply online. Or if you have any questions, you can reach out to our volunteer coordinator, Hanan, and you can find her details on our website as well. We also have opportunities that come up for board members and board committees. So please check our website regularly, because that's where we would be posting for the different skill sets that we might be looking for to support that work. Other ways, if volunteering is not what you have time for, or there aren't potentially things that you're interested in that I've just described, there are other ways that you can support us. So that could be financial. We know that these are tough times for everybody, but we do have ways that you can provide us with whatever monetary support you feel you can give. The financial donations will go to, you can indicate where you would like the financial support to be used, either where it's needed most, children or youth programs. We do have an access to technology, because so much these days is done online, and people do have limited funds available to buy devices. We do have an access to technology fund, and we strive to ensure that through our initial resettlement orientation, we're providing people with some of the digital literacy that they will need to be able to do some of the ongoing activities that they might want to engage with online. but the access to the actual devices is a challenge. So that's a place where you might think about supporting us. Then the Community Connections and Social Integration Program that supports the Family Partnership Program and the English Outreach Program with some of the activities that would bring volunteers together. And then we have a health discretionary fund, and this is to support people who might have needs that are beyond the scope of the OHIP and or the health benefit program that is funded through the federal government. We have quite a number of people who come in need of assistive devices, and some of those devices and other medical treatments like the dental benefits are very limited. So we do fundraise to support a discretionary fund where we might be able to provide people with the support they need. Healthcare is a very vital part of what we try to support people with, because if you aren't healthy, you can't go to school, you can't look for work. So we want to ensure that we're supporting people to be healthy and to be able to then be able to participate in all of the other settlement supports that they need. We also do actually have on our website ways that you can support us through in-kind donations. We have hygiene kits that we put together to give to every family when they arrive. We also put together school backpacks for kids so that they can have all of the materials that they need when they do start school. And strollers is also actually a very big need. There's very few places that actually where strollers can be sourced. People rely on secondhand stores and other places for those types of donations, but they are limited. So that's one of the things that we specifically ask for support so that we can ensure that people are able to take kids out. And now that summer's here, it's a great way to get out and see the local community, go for walks. Where we are temporarily located now is near Victoria Park. So it's a great way to help people to get out and just enjoy being part of the community. This weekend, we're hoping to take people out to the multicultural festival that's happening in Victoria Park. So, so hopefully everybody has a stroller for that, who needs one. And then in other ways, as M.M. Bashir mentioned too, we do need support when we're looking for housing, for family doctors, for employers who may actually be willing to hire refugees. So please connect with us. If you have anyone in your networks, anybody that you know, a family doctor who may be accepting a new patient. These are all ways that you can get involved and that are really providing a very vital, important piece of the settlement journey to the people that we are trying to support and ensure that they are able to live happy, healthy, fully independent lives here in our community. So thank you so much. And together we can create a more welcoming community where refugees are supported and able to thrive. So thank you very much again for coming out today and for your support.
Thank you so much, Lynn. We will now open the floor for any questions you have for our panel members. Essay, if you could begin sharing the questions and directing them to the appropriate speaker.
All right, well, thank you everyone for joining us today, for joining us at the webinar. It's a very important day where we recognize the bravery, the resilience of our newcomer friends. We try to refrain from using the word refugee, so we recognize them as newcomer friends and neighbors. So I'll be moderating the questions today, and we have one here for you, Lynn. It says, is it still possible to help with the communications or tutoring in English if you only speak English and do not have a second language? I guess the question is asking how do we manage that between the relationship between the volunteers and newcomers when English is the only language they know?
Right. Yes, that's a great question. And yes, it is possible. I think many people do feel daunted by the prospect of the fact that you may not be able to communicate using a common language. We do provide some resources and suggestions. And, it's not all communication needs to be verbal, and there's other ways that you can help people to learn the language. Some of the things that we encourage people to do, for instance, are go to places where they might need to learn words that they most commonly might be using. So even a grocery store trip, for instance, is a great way to help people to know what are the different types of fruits and vegetables and products that they might actually never have seen before, and help people to know what they are, but also to learn the words in English, because again, it may sound like that's a very simple thing, but it's very necessary. So even going on the bus, for instance, helping people to learn the different words that you might need to use when you're trying to navigate the bus system. It's simple things like that. And there's definitely ways that not being able to communicate verbally is there are workarounds for sure. People, I would say, who are joining the English conversation program are very keen to really just get to know other people. We have quite a few singles who arrive, and they're coming, and they are alone. They don't have family, they don't have friends in this community. And so it's a way really, truly of just being able to connect with people and to be able to build relationships. I would say that our staff, they speak a lot of languages, but not everybody speaks every language of the people that they will be encountering on a daily basis. So we learn sign language very quickly, and a smile will always go a long way. And when you enter into a conversation with a smile as the opener, it just builds the bridge to, developing that just rapport, and a few simple sentences, a few simple words, just go a long way to helping people to feel more welcomed, and just the understanding that it builds between people is amazing to see. So I hope that this encourages you to maybe give it a try.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Lynn. There's another question for you, and the person says maybe they just want you to go over how to get involved on the board. So if you don't mind sharing that again, in case
Yeah,
anyone
so sorry, and maybe Bobber might want to take this one as well, but we do often advertise when we're looking for board and or board committee members. So I would just check our website. And Bobber, I'm not sure if there are any opportunities at present or not.
Sure, yeah. So individuals that they're interested to join our board of directors or board committees, they can submit their resumes and letter of interest, and our governance committee at the board will review and will contact them, and they will arrange the onboarding. So we appreciate, we thank everyone who's interested to join our board and board committees.
Thank you, Barbara. Okay, another question is how difficult is it to find appropriate and affordable housing for refugees in the region at this time? I think, Barbara, would you want to jump on this?
Yes, probably Emma can add more to this question, but especially for single women and then single individuals that are receiving lower income support from the IRCC. This is the main challenge that we are facing in terms of affordability with the little financial support that they have or limited financial support that they have. They can secure a permanent house. And then that's why we are introducing housing top-up and housing loans to those individuals that they can't afford to rent an apartment, a suitable apartment here in Waterloo region. And unfortunately, some of these individuals, especially those with the families, they're using their child tax benefits to pay for the rent, and 80%, over 80% of their income is going to their rent. So we definitely need support and additional support from the community and from foundations and from the municipality governments to support us with housing subsidies and housing support for these vulnerable refugees that they can't afford to pay for their rent.
And I will just add on to what Babar had mentioned. The appropriate and affordable housing are kind of two different questions. So for the affordable component, the clients that we receive, they are competing for the same market rent units as any other renter. So as I'm sure many of you know, the cost of rent, the average cost of rent is still increasing. We have noticed some changes over the last year. It has gotten, we're able to house people a little bit faster. And I think that is due to the vacancy rate increasing a little bit because of a lot of the initiatives to build housing in the region. But the cost, unfortunately, still is not reflecting that. And so a majority of the clients that we're supporting are spending 50% or more of their monthly income just on housing. So the affordability component is still a major challenge. And in terms of appropriate housing, a lot of the newcomer families that we see, they can be larger families. They can be extended families that want to live together, and they can have accessibility needs. And so there really does continue to still be a lack of kind of that missing middle housing. Some of the larger units to suit families who are renting, accessibility is still a huge issue. So while we are finding people are being housed a little bit faster, the affordability and the suitability of housing continues to be a really big challenge.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you. We have another question. It says, how can members of the local municipal government support Reception House? If any one of the panelists want to jump in, or Barbara, would you want to address this?
Sure. We work closely with the region, with the city of Kitchener and Waterloo, and with the region of Waterloo, to advocate for housing, especially as I mentioned previously, building a transition housing for single women and female-headed households that they have to leave the temporary accommodation, but they can't secure permanent housing. So to support them and provide them transition housing and build their skills and their employability so they can become financially independent while they move from the transition house and they can have their own apartment. So definitely we need the region's support, and the city of Kitchener and Waterloo, we are working closely with them in collaboration to find a solution for those individuals that they are facing homelessness and housing challenges.
Right, thank you. That was a question. There's another question, or rather, a couple of questions. So I'm going to split this. So thank you very much for the very kind words. Thanks, Reception House. Happy Refugee Day. You're an amazing team. I just had to read that so the team can also appreciate the kind words from our attendees. So now there's a question. Can someone speak to IRCC's willing to work funding? Bashir, would you like to take that?
To be honest, we haven't kind of applied for this funding yet. We can look at it to see if it is something that our clients can benefit from. Definitely we look into it to apply. And in terms of also the Conestoga College in the past, we had partnered with Conestoga College culinary program, and a few of our female clients received training through their program. We will look into it in future to see if there is also any opportunity to connect with them. We are working with college to run the different various programs.
Thank you, Bashir. And do we have anything on employ newcomer women specifically? There's a question on that. So do we have a program that is focused mainly on newcomer women to help them get employed? Bashir?
We have an employment program that focuses on supporting our refugee clients, including women, to find a job. A few of our female clients got the job in the past, and right now we are in the process of increasing the capacity of the employment program. But we don't have anything specifically focused on female. We support all our clients regardless of their gender at the moment. That is what we do right now.
Okay, thank you. So I see a part of that question from the anonymous attendee. So can Reception House do something like the newcomer kitchen? We did have a program, not the newcomers kitchen, but we had the Iftar kitchen where we had an event. I think Haley, would you want to speak on the Iftar potluck we had? So the Iftar potluck we had during the fasting time. So I guess the thinking about us creating like a kitchen where we have common food from the newcomers, where we can share all of that.
I think Lynn might be better to speak to that. Go ahead, Lynn.
Oh, sorry, Haley, I didn't want to butt in. I was just going to actually say that I'm very interested in who the person who did actually ask these questions, because you have some very interesting ideas. And as we've said, we have done similar things in the past, but one of the areas that we are looking to develop is our employment service delivery area. And we really are looking at different ways that we can support a very wide range of people, different experiences, different educational levels, different skills. And all of these are great ideas. And we have currently staff who are looking into all of the different programs and services that are available, because one of the things that I would say that Reception House adds value to the broader community is that we are very client-centered. The case management program is very much looking at the individual needs and or the needs of the family, and trying, yes, to find where people may have either common interests, or there may be people who have skills in a certain area. So we might want to look at where there are employers who are looking to hire people where they can use those skills. But often it is very specific to the individual and to the family's situation. So we are looking at it kind of more from the perspective of we need to know a lot about what are the resources available in the community that we can direct people to depending on their needs, and then looking for innovative ways where we may be able to fill some of the gaps if there are not existing services. So I'm just really curious. If you have connections to any of these programs yourself, please do reach out and let us know, be in touch, because that's certainly one of the ways that we build, if we want to build stronger connections and partnerships. It's great to have a connection to begin with. So thanks very much for that question.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. Now, there's another question. So can you tell me more about the partnerships with other organizations regarding mental health support?
I can take a part of that. I did mention the challenge of connecting people to appropriate health and mental health supports. And one of the recent things that we've done is to invite folks from Camino in to our temporary accommodation. They are there 1 day a week to provide a well-being orientation to newcomers that kind of covers what is well-being, what resources are available in the community, and it also speaks to the resettlement roller coaster that people might face, where they're initially very happy to be here, eager to start their new life, and then they start to, maybe start to miss home. Maybe they feel a bit isolated because of the language barrier. So it kind of covers that, so that the newcomers that we support are equipped with some of the knowledge about mental health and well-being and the resources available in our community. And in addition to that, they just have an open door for a set regular time where anybody can just come and walk in and access counseling support and then further referrals. One of the other places that we have Camino in our temporary accommodation is embedded within our children's programming 1 day a week. And so their children youth facilitator, they do a lot of work, fun activities with the kids that are all focused on emotional regulation. Some of the kids that we see might have been out of school for quite a while. They've been through a lot, a lot of upheaval coming to Canada. And so sometimes kids can struggle with emotional regulation and with kind of getting in the habits that they will need to be successful when they go to school. So having that embedded in the children's programming for the children and as a resource for parents as well has been really helpful. And we've been doing that for the past 6 months or so. So it's been a great addition. Bashir, Lynn, do you want to talk to kind of some of the more ongoing mental health partnerships for when people are kind of in the CSS program and beyond?
I think, as you have mentioned, EMAC Community is one of the organizations that they are supporting our clients at the temporary accommodation, and also we refer clients to their services as their clients move out from the temporary accommodation. On top of that, we work with a wide range of service providers in the community, depending on the client's needs, whether it is CMHA, groundwater hospital, or some individual mental health service providers that clients are being referred to for the services based on their needs.
Awesome. Thank you both. Thank you, Emma, and thank you, Bashir, for addressing that question. So just before I move on to the next question, I want to share Beth's message here. It says, I just wanted to let you know that the family I met through the Family Partnership Program, who came to Reception House from Syria in 2016, is now thriving. Thank you for that. They have 6 children, and one of their daughters is now a flight attendant with Air Canada, and another is going to University of Guelph in the fall and is planning to be a lawyer. So your programs are so helpful and powerful. I thought this is the message that the team wants to hear. We have a couple of staff here. We don't get to hear this all the time because we see it live. So it's always a pleasure when we get these messages. Thank you so much, Beth, for sharing that story with us. There's a question here. It says, is it possible to do a volunteer placement with Reception House for a school program? Lee, do you want to take that?
Yes, absolutely. Again, it would depend on the learning goals for the program, depending on what the course is. But yeah, please, if that's a sort of question about if you're looking for a placement yourself, or you know somebody who is, please do reach out. We can't always provide, again, depending on what type of placement it is, we can't always provide an opportunity, but we have had placement students in the past and are currently actually just in the process of bringing another placement student on. So absolutely, yes.
Thank you. So if you have anyone interested there, they're free to contact us and do the registration or application, as the case may be. And here's the final question for me. Say, Esther, can you advise why refugees is not an acceptable term? I think you said that we should use newcomers. Is there anything else? Yes, personally, I think the moment they arrive Canada, the term refugees actually ends. They become newcomers. Refugee is a status and it doesn't define them. So the way it's being used in the community, we don't want it to look like a stigma, just being a refugee. They are individuals like you and I. They are people who just happen to have the misfortune to leave their home countries because it's war torn, because the trauma over there. But that isn't who they are. They're like us when we move to a new place. So we welcome them. We refer to them as new friends, new common friends, or new neighbors. I think that's a more welcoming, more inclusive way of addressing people whom we are serving as a community. So I think if there are no questions, that kind of ends the question and answer session. If you do have anything or any other question you think about, you can reach out to either of us on the team, or you can contact us on using the info at. We'll be happy to answer any of your questions. So I'll hand over now to Haley to continue with the program.
Thank you so much, SA, and thank you to everyone that submitted a question. Thanks also for participating in our World Refugee Day webinar. We're going to follow up with a survey to the participants, so if you could please fill that out, that would be great to help inform us for future webinars and events. Lastly, I just want to draw your attention to our upcoming events. So we would love to see you at our Not Another Gala event on Thursday, September 26th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., where we will indulge in some delicious food and take in some excellent entertainment. Additionally, on Saturday, October 5th, Reception House is participating in the Ride for Refuge with United College. We'd love to have you join us in this great initiative to raise funds and spread awareness. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.